Ireland get the win, 36 points to 20 against Japan, and what was a really entertaining game in my opinion. Yes, you could see there were some moments, you could see that wasn't Ireland's strongest team, you could see that this is a team that's just been thrown together for the week, but still a lot of positives, more positives than negatives in my opinion. But before we do get into it, if you do enjoy the content, please don't forget to like and subscribe to help the channel grow. I really do appreciate all the support, and there will be a player ratings coming out literally right after this video, so pay attention for that. I will be doing a player ratings. Of course, the player ratings, it's what I saw with my own eyes, so if you guys agree with it as well, if you disagree with it, let me know down below in the comments for that video. But this is my instant reaction right after the final whistle, and my first reaction has to be, well done Japan, a really good performance from them. Of course it's not Ireland's strongest team, but they still asked a lot of questions of Ireland, they really did. And I mean, for these teams like a South Africa, like a New Zealand, like a Ireland, like a France, they can change their teams up and they'll still be world-class players there. There's still URC champions there. There's still some really good Ulster players, some really good Munster players, Tide Byrne there being the captain, some really good players from all the provinces of Ireland there. So a really good performance from Japan to ask a lot of questions of Ireland. And of course, Japan started the game off strong, early lead, went back to even, got another little lead, eventually got a little lead before halftime, and then Ireland just took over. Then things really started to click for them. But I'm going to be going over the stats, going over some of the key players, and just my thought process after the game. My number one thought for Ireland is, the changes paid off. The changes did pay off. These players have all gained experience now. A lot of them will learn from it. A lot of debuts as well. A really positive week for Ireland rugby. You can't go into a game like this against a good team like Japan, who's very well disciplined. They are very disciplined. They do everything really well. The way they play rugby is very fun to watch as well. They really play rugby the right way. You're not going to go against Japan with a much changed team and expect it to be easy. You could see early on there were a few growing pains. There was a lack of cohesion a bit between some of the combinations, especially 9-10 around there, the forward pack loose trio. But those things kind of got ironed out throughout the game. People started to understand, okay, this is how things are going to work. This is how we can do things together to make things work, because some of these players have never played together before in an international game, or even in general ever before, maybe in training, but that's not the same thing. So you could see that early on there was a kind of growing pains from the team. But the one thing I will say is I liked the look of the team today. It looked like it was very tricky conditions as well. I don't know what the conditions exactly were like, but it did seem a little bit tough for the players, and maybe the Japanese players were a bit more used to those types of conditions on that side of the world. But still, some good performances from the Irish players. I will be doing a player ratings for that coming out later, so stay tuned for that one. I think it'll be right after this video. But just looking at some of the stats, Ireland led for 55 minutes of the game, so 69% of the game they led. Some of the other things as well, 10 points in the last 10 minutes for Ireland. There was a yellow card for Japan at the end of the game, which also did help Ireland kind of get more ahead on the scoreboard. And for me, especially from an Irish perspective, for the Ireland fans, you can't really look at the scoreboard there and say that's an accurate reflection of the game. I thought it was a lot closer than the scoreboard actually does show, but that is a credit to Japan. And still, for Ireland to be able to get a win with a much changed team after this Japan team just beat a good Italy side as well, the credit has to go to Ireland for actually being brave enough to make these selections, to give these guys an opportunity. And we can actually now see that these guys that are gaining experience, they're going to be really good in the next few years. There's some really good players. Sean Janssen is a beast. I mean, that guy is such a beast. I've watched him a bit, but now I watched him today. He's an absolute dog the way he works around the field. I really do like him. Nick Timoney, what a player. Yes, some guys were struggling to work together at the start, but once things got ironed out, you could see just how good some of these players are. Nathan Doak, Tom Stewart, Cormac Uzuchukwu at the end there with a big carry. I really do like the look of this Ireland team. I would like to see them play a little bit more, but obviously not right now. Next week's the big one against New Zealand. Maybe a few players from this game have kind of put their hand up and said, look, pick me for that All Blacks game. There might be a few. Don't know how many, but there will be a few. So that game next week is going to be absolutely incredible. I cannot wait for that one. Probably my game to watch for the Nations Championship. That is going to be the game to watch. And of course, tonight, Springboks for Scotland as well. But looking at some of the match summary stats here, 5 tries for Ireland, 2 for Japan, 4 conversions for Ireland, 2 for Japan. 2 penalty goals for Japan, 1 for Ireland. Carries, 129 carries for Ireland, 96 for Japan. So both teams not high carries either. 7 line breaks for Ireland, 1 for Japan. You could see when those line breaks started happening, especially at the start of the game, it was actually funny to me because you can see the lack of cohesion at the start of the game, because when a line break happens, it's almost like people are doing individual things, but once it comes to the actual Ireland team, the full strength team, Everybody knows exactly what to do in a line break. That is Ireland's bread and butter, but you can still see the lack of cohesion for some of those line breaks with a few passes not going to hand, maybe a few guys having a few different ideas to the other guys with regards to what lines to run, which passes to give. But that's the fun part about these games, that the team has to still learn how to play together, and to be able to do it against a good team like Japan that actually beat a tier 1 team last week in Italy, a good team as well. That's very positive. So some of the other stats as well, turnovers lost 19 for Japan. They're going to have to go back to the drawing board for that one. But most of those turnovers were from pressure from Ireland as well. 9 turnovers lost for Ireland. So not the best there either, but not as bad as 19. And I think it was 30-something turnovers last week for Italy as well. So much better performance from both these teams. Turnovers won 6 for Ireland, 3 for Japan. Then 56% possession for Ireland and 55% territory. So Ireland did lead the stats throughout the game most of the time, but Japan was still in there, thereabouts, the whole game. So looking at the 22-meter entries, 10 22-meter entries for Japan, which by itself, beating Ireland, who had 9 entries into the opposition 22, already is a positive stat for Japan. So 10 entries, 2 average points per entry. But for Ireland, 9 entries, 3.6 average points per entry. Even if Ireland doesn't play their strongest team, they are still clinical. It might not look as smooth. Don't get me wrong, they are still clinical. They still are ruthless. You have to actually pay attention to that, because it doesn't look as smooth. It doesn't look as pretty on the eye when it's a changed team and there's a lot of different things going on. But they still were clinical and they still got the job done with 3.6 average points scored per entry. So that is a very positive stat there from Ireland. And I think that's one they can take from the game and really see as a positive as well. Of course, for Japan, more entries is very positive for them as well. Looking at the attacking kind of profile here, where the differences were made. The line breaks, 7 line breaks to 1, a big difference there. Another one's got to be carries, 129 carries versus 96. Kicks, 23 to 21, so very even. But the way Ireland kick is a lot more accurate sometimes. But Japan's kicking wasn't bad in my opinion. So I can't just talk about Ireland, I have to talk about Japan as well, because they are getting much better in every single area of the game. Physicality, the way they approach the game, the attacking style, mixing things up, the variation in the kicking game, the variation in their play, being able to not just be a running team, being able to go to your big forwards that they have now, with the Warner Derns, Ben Gunter and those guys, being physical in the forward pack. I do like the look of this Japan team, and I think the more Japan can play in a tournament like this, the better for them, the better for Japanese rugby, the better for everyone, because Japan plays some good rugby, and I think if they were to play like this on a consistent basis, we'd see a lot more closer games from them. They've already beaten Italy, which for me is massive for them, and I think they might go close with the other few teams as well. I think them versus England should be an interesting game, them versus Wales as well. So they are getting better, but that just shows Ireland, with a changed team, could still beat a team that beat another good team the previous week. So very good performance there from Ireland if you look at it from that perspective. Post-contact meters, this is where it will be a worry for Ireland. At 227 for Japan, 194 for Ireland. Ireland normally is a big post-contact meters carrying team. They love going post-contact, keeping the ball alive. They love that quick ball. So for them, not being able to get that post-contact meters will affect their game, will affect their pace of play. And for Japan, that's what they need to get that quick ball going. That scrum off's going to be there that instant. The one thing with Japan is everything they do, maybe sometimes today they weren't, but they normally are extremely accurate with everything they do. Their breakdown speed, their breakdown technique, getting the ball out quick, they're very accurate. So if they have 227 post-contact meters, they will thrive. And they did it sometimes throughout the game. There was a few times in the game where they really did ask a few questions and they looked pretty good as well. Looking at the defense profile, this thing is all over the show where you can see what's happening here. 8 dominant tackles for Ireland, 6 for Japan, so it was a very physical game, some good tackling there. 178 tackles made by Japan, 137 for Ireland, so all in all, Japan were forced to make more tackles. They missed more tackles as well, with 26 tackles missed and only 10 tackles missed for Ireland. Ireland do this very well. They rack up the carries, they rack up the post-contact meters. Not today that much, but they rack up the post-contact meters. They break through contact, they get the little soft shoulder, bring the offload in, keep the ball rolling, keep the ball going out quick. They do this. They keep the team missing tackles like a Japan. Once they start missing more tackles and Ireland just gains momentum, it's just like it's like a shark in the water that smells blood. They just go for it and they just become alive as a team. Didn't see that too much today at the start, but near the end you could see that kind of ruthlessness from the Ireland team, and it's good to see that the other guys outside of the main guys for Ireland have that same ruthlessness as well. So I really did enjoy that from Ireland. 6 turnovers, 1 versus 3 for Ireland in favour, winning 6 turnovers there. 3 tackle turnovers, which is big for Ireland there. Those are opportunities they can capitalise on. And just some of the other things in this game as well. The average ruck speed, 5.4 seconds for Ireland, 5.49 seconds for Japan. Both these teams on average normally do have a faster ruck speed than other teams in the competitions. I remember the one time in the Six Nations, I think it was against England, that incredible game. It was like 4.1 seconds. It was incredible from Ireland. But average ruck speed isn't really a stat I like to look at, because setting up for box kicks and stuff can really make that go a lot higher. But just some of the other things here, 33% of Japan's rucks were between 0 and 3 seconds. 36% of Ireland's rucks were between 0 and 3 seconds. So some quick ruck speeds there. That just shows these teams want to play quick. They want to get the ball going. They want to use their opportunities. 51% for Ireland between 3 and 6 seconds, and then 48% for Ireland between 3 and 6 seconds. So Ireland overall, quicker ruck speed there. You can just see that there, and both of them 16% for 6+ seconds. Those are the normal kind of box kicks, and they had a similar amount of kicks throughout the game as well, so that does make sense. But some of the key players from the game, looking from a stats perspective, Takuro Matsunaga with 10 points in the game. Tom Stewart was the last try scorer. What a sneaky try that was. I really liked the ball given from Nathan Doak there to Tom Stewart. Jack Conan with 12 carries. He was busy today. Jack Cornelson with 20 tackles completed for Japan, but those Japanese players had to work hard today. Jimmy O'Brien with 2 line breaks. Ben Gunter with 2 turnovers, and I do like Ben Gunter a lot. He's one of those players for Japan. He's physical, he's big, he does not take a backward step at all. Sean Janssen with 5 defenders beaten, and I'll say it again, this guy really impressed me. Could be a guy looking at going forward. He could be in the team for Ireland going forward. I mean, he's good off the bench, he's good in the starting lineup. Not the biggest guy in the world, but he's physical, and he kind of reminds me of a Jack Conan or a Nick Timoney player. Maybe he's a bit of both of them as well, so I do like that a lot. Looking at some of the other stats from the game, some of the other top carries in the game, Jack Conan with 12, Sean Janssen with 12, and Nick Timoney with 10. All 3 of those guys were all over the park. I was very impressed with the loose trio. Of course, it took a little bit of a while for them to kind of click and figure out what is the right balance for them to play in. But once they got that right, they looked really good. Some of the other things as well, meters carried. Tyra Main with 64 meters carried. Sean Janssen with 53. And Kieran Frawley with 46. At the start of the game, Kieran Frawley really did struggle. Grew into the game a bit. Don't know if it was enough to really put him in that spot where he's in contention for the number 10 jersey. I don't think so, but still a decent game. He showed he can play 10, he can play other positions as well. Might just get the crack at the number 23 jersey for the All Blacks game, but we'll talk a bit more about that in the player ratings video. But just looking at the stats here, Sean Janssen everywhere. Defenders beaten near the top, meters carried near the top, the actual carries near the top, tackles made near the top. This guy was absolutely everywhere today, and that just shows he gets an opportunity, he takes it. And for Ireland, they needed players like that would just go and take the opportunities, because it's been Caelan Doris, Jack Conan, Josh van der Fleer, Tide Burn for a while now. It's good to see guys like Nick Timoney now coming through and proving they have what it takes, playing a bit of a Quagga Smith role for the team there, and also a guy like Sean Janssen coming through after a really good season and having a really good performance. So to all the people in my comments that were saying, what, Sean Janssen, you guys were all right. Every single one of you were absolutely right. He is an awesome player. But some really good performances here from Ireland, from Japan as well. Not the cleanest game of rugby, not the best game of rugby to watch, but it did get better towards the second half. That's what you expect from a game like this. A learning lesson for all these Ireland players, for Japan as well, playing against a top country like Ireland in a neutral venue as well. It's always going to be a learning lesson. It'll help them for the World Cup. It'll help Ireland for the World Cup as well. And a lot of those players from Ireland today would have gained some valuable experience against a pretty good team in Japan. So let me know which players you thought were the best today. Who was your man of the match? Let me know what was your favorite moment of the game. Did I miss anything? Let me know down below in the comments. The player ratings will be coming out soon, so I'll see you in the next one. Cheers.